Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back once again with the Empire, led by Supreme Patriarch Balthazar Gelt, going to be taking on the Foul Skaven. This is in fact another game between myself and Gojira that was fought in Italian's Flash tournament, the Warpstone Cup, so go ahead and check that out in the link in the description below if you want to watch the live version that was done on an Italian stream. But let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions here very briefly. Balthazar Gelt, of course, going to be leading the way with what else but Final Transmutation with Arcane Conduit and Staff of Volans. We've got 3 units of Pistoliers, a bit of a Pike and Shot build with 3 units of Spearmen and 3 units of Free Company Militia, who I used to take these guys quite often, don't quite so much anymore, but they are still pretty solid, especially in the Skaven matchup with their decent melee stats and high volume of fire. And you can see I have brought a terrible steam tank. Yes indeed, I know I bag on this guy quite a bit. Decided to give him a shot in this match. Shot, no pun intended. And we'll see how he does here. We've also got a Warrior Priest, of course, supporting the infantry. He does have the Banner of Eternal Flame just in case of a Hell Pit Abomination. That way, you know, like these Free Company Militia, for example, will get flaming damage on their ranged attacks, and the Spearmen will get flaming damage on their melee attacks. We've also got the Grand Hammer of Sigmar, of course, to help buff those units up. A single Great Cannon, we've got some Reiksguard, 2 units of Empire Knights, and then the 3 Pistoliers, and another Ace meme unit here, Outriders with grenade launchers. So we'll see how they do. For Gojira's Skaven, he's got Lord Skrolk, definitely the best choice, as well as a Warlock Engineer. Let's look at the spells. Items, Liber Bubonicus, Rod of Corruption, no surprise, Pestilent Birth, and Vermintide, so the 2 summons for Skrolk. Warlock Engineer's got Warp Lightning, Howling Warp Gale, and Death Frenzy, interesting, as well as the Doom Rocket. He's also got 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, couple Clan Rat Spears, make that 3 in the back to protect, 3 Plague Monks up front with 2 Storm Vermin with Halberds, 1 on each flank, also a Rat Ogre on each flank, as well as 2 Skaven Slave Slingers. So without further ado, let's get the battle underway. You can see already the Warp Lightning Cannons are starting to take chunks out of my Pistoliers, which is a bit uncomfortable, but the Steam Tank going to be moving up into range here, popping off shots up and over this slope here, starting to counter artillery fire. Let's see how these Warp Lightning Cannons do as anti-tank guns. Of course, Warp Lightning Cannons themselves, because they have such big unit models, are going to be pretty easy targets for these cannons. Great Cannons focused on one, Steam Tanks focused on the other. You can see the Steam Tank does take a little bit of damage there from those Warp Lightning Cannons, but already we're starting to do some work on these unit models here. Nothing taken down quite yet, but the crew's taking some damage. You can see Balthazar Gelt's flying over to get a nice Final Transmutation, and unfortunately my opponent does cast a very nice Overcast Howling Warp Gale here, so I can't move. I was just barely in range to get the Final Transmutation off, so that in and of itself was nice, but you can see all of a sudden Skaven Slave Slingers pouring fire into Balthazar Gelt, and all of the Warp Lightning Cannons also going to be focus firing on him as well. We are starting to take down the unit models of the Warp Lightning Cannons, 1 down for each unit. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to save Balthazar. He's just getting absolutely wrecked here by all these Sling Stones, the Warp Lightning, and everything. Yeah, Balthazar's in a bad situation, so he's going to run away. Bit unfortunate for me to lose my general so early on in the battle, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. You can see, though, the Great Cannon has managed to successfully destroy the 2nd Warp Lightning Cannon out of this unit, so only 1 remaining here. And this other unit over here has also got 1 down. Let's see, Steam Tank, ooh, not quite finishing off that other one, but does get a direct hit on it, so should be going down relatively soon. And if I can win an artillery advantage, of course, I can force the Skaven to advance, despite the fact that Balthazar got wrecked there. He still managed to do some damage to Lord Skrolk, and it does look like 2nd unit model going down for the Warp Lightning Cannon there. And yeah, so both Warp Lightning Cannons down to only 1 unit model. Gojira is going to be forced to advance into the Empire gun line here a little bit. Thought maybe we were going to get 1 more shot here, but it looks like the Warp Lightning Cannon, ooh, getting some nice shots, does actually get destroyed there. Not before routing off those Pistoliers, though, so yeah, Pistoliers definitely taking a lot of damage. Thankfully, they're a pretty cheap unit, so it's not that big a deal at the end of the day. But yeah, Great Cannon's going to be now focusing on the Rat Ogres. Steam Tank, likewise, since the other Warp Lightning Cannon is down to only 1 unit model. The Skaven forces are advancing. You can see the Pistoliers pulling up onto the hill here into a nice firing position, going to pop off a volley and then pull away there, doing some okay damage to those Plague Monks, certainly. The Rat Ogres also will take some good damage from the cannon. You can see the line of sight is a little bit obstructed here. I don't think they can quite make it up and over that slope, but Steam Tank pulling back towards my lines. Obviously, I don't want it to get caught out in melee too early on. But it does look like they can actually hit that other unit of Rat Ogres over this slight slope here, potentially. So, yeah. Skaven going to be advancing into the Pike and shot there, and ooh, nice hit by the Steam Tank, taking out one of those Rat Ogre unit models. The other one is going to get back up, but still doing some good damage there. Pistoliers, despite their losses, are still fighting here, doing some nice skirmishing. Steam Tank going to turn back around and pull back once more, using its steam gun as it goes, and here come the grenade launchers, just wrecking these Plague Monks. Grenade launchers are really good against low armor infantry, so therefore they're probably going to be pretty solid against the Skaven. The Pistoliers also laying down some withering fire here as well. So you can see all across the line, Skaven advancing into the gun lines and just taking the rough end of the engagement, no doubt. We're in a skirmish back with this unit of Free Company Militia, try and catch these clan rats in a bit of an unfavorable situation. Meanwhile, the cannons are doing a great job taking down the Rat Ogres. You can see Free Company free to fire from this position here. Outriders going to be kind of clogging things up. Empire Knights over on the far side being used to stop up the Rat Ogres and the Storm Vermin. Meanwhile, the 2 units of Knights over on the other side are coming in to collapse. Meanwhile, we've got a nice juicy blob here for our units to fire in. You can see the grenade launchers firing in, the Free Company are firing in. Oh, that cannon shot was brutal. That just went straight through the line sideways and got a ton of kills, so I heard a Warp Lightning go down. Looks like it narrowly missed those Pistoliers. But yeah, these clan rats over here surrounded by Spearmen, and the Free Company Militia going to be doing very well. Looks like Hammer of Sigmar going down on those Spearmen who were fighting. Unfortunately, just getting routed off there, but the Reiksguard landing home a rear charge. Meanwhile, in the back line, Empire Knights chasing, routing Rat Ogres chasing, routing Empire Knights, and the Clan Rats pushing through to try and get on the Free Company Militia. That being said, Free Company Militia will do quite well here, and we'll kind of watch as this combat unfolds with the grenade launchers going off as well. We've got these Pistoliers firing in from the side, just absolutely beautiful stuff. The Steam Tank is pulled back a bit as well. Of course, we're trying to take advantage of the ranged power of the Steam Tank as much as possible. But, man, I just love watching Free Company fight in melee because they have, like, the point-blank shots. They're kicking. They're using their swords. Super cool stuff. You can see some units have broken through here and are going to be advancing. Unfortunately, those Pistoliers did get cleaned up, and these Empire Knights likely will as well. But the Reiksguard been able to pull back. Empire Knights coming to clean up what's left of the Warp Lightning Cannon crews. And at this point, looking pretty rough for the Skaven. The bounce power not too far out of balance, but at this point, the grenade launchers have pulled over to this flank, continuing to fire away at the Clan Rats who have made it to the Empire Great Cannon here, but the Free Company have been pulled back into a firing position so they can get a really nice crossfire here from both sides, along with the grenade launchers. Should be enough to finish off these Plague Monks, despite the fact that they are taking down that cannon crew there who are trying to run away. But yeah, the terror from the Steam Tank definitely strong here, terrifying away those Storm Vermin. Skrulk looks like he's trying to summon up potentially some more Plague Monks. Not sure that summon actually went off there. It might have been canceled, but yeah, right. Empire Knights being chased off on the far side. More Clan Rats fighting Free Company Militia here, and oh man, the brutal, just absolutely brutal grenade launchers coming in, and they've been able to do a lot of work this game, certainly. The Steam Tank, you know, this is one matchup where I think the Steam Tank might do okay. I still stand by the fact that he's one of the 5 worst quote-unquote monster-type units in the game. That being said, he's not terrible, and certainly all the units in my top 5 worst monsters video are not useless per se. They're situational though, and compared to other monsters, I still think that they're not quite as good as they could be. The Steam Tank is no exception to that. It did well in this battle here, managed to get an XP Chevron, 62 kills, and is routing off Lord Skrulk, although not doing a whole lot of damage to him. But the Free Company Militia here helping to clean things up. You can see over here on the far side these Rat Ogres trying to get in here, but just getting dragged down by tons and tons of Spearmen. The grenade launchers are still online as well, so it's mostly just a cleanup phase here. You can see the Free Company firing away at those routing Clan Rats. And the Warrior Priest is going to come teach Skrulk a lesson as well. Gave himself the Hammer of Sigmar to get some good melee attack. And yeah, the Steam Tank also got the Hammer of Sigmar there as well. Just point blank blasting Lord Skrulk into oblivion there. Meanwhile, the grenade launchers and Free Company and other units getting a nice surround on the Storm Vermin here. Reiksguard are going to hammer home a rear charge on the Skaven slaves. You can see the grenade launchers also starting to fire in here to the Storm Vermin. The Reiksguard overrun into the Storm Vermin and pinned from both sides, taking grenade fire. These Storm Vermin are definitely not happy about their life situations at this point. You can see the Warlock Engineer did manage to rout off those Free Company Militia. Another very nice Warp Lightning going down. Goji's been pretty on top of that this battle. Thankfully for me, though, the Reiksguard are able to clean up a lot of this late game situation, and the Terror from the Steam Tank is going to be a little bit too much to deal with. Death Frenzy from the Warlock Engineer, though, giving him extra melee attack and also making him immune to psychology so that he won't get terrified by the Steam Tank. That being said, though, he's still getting shot in the back by a whole bunch of Free Company Militia, and oh man, he just goes for a ride there from the Steam Tank. So yeah, pretty rough stuff for this Skaven. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Super fun battle. Not the most competitive list, I would say, but it certainly worked out in this particular battle. Balthazar Gelt, being the martyr that he is, able to get a good final transmutation at first, although promptly getting zapped out of the air by the Warp Lightning, which, you know, it was rough, but ended up being okay. The cannon and the Steam Tank were able to outtrade the Warp Lightning cannons, do a bunch of damage to the Rat Ogres, and also to the Skaven infantry as well. The Terror from the Steam Tank was definitely nice, although it still took a lot more damage than I was comfortable with, especially from some of the lower tier units. But the true MVPs in my heart are definitely these grenade launchers. 1 or 2 units against the Skaven can be absolutely devastating. Because the Skaven don't really have the mobility to deal with them, your only recourse is really to shoot back. And I mean, that certainly is effective with some units, but if you can keep the Outriders safe from enemy fire, they'll do a ton of damage to Skaven infantry. Knights doing quite well also. Empire Knights 105. Only 38 on these guys. They got put into a little bit of a rough situation, but Reiksguard also getting 118. Not too bad. Free Company Militia getting some pretty good kills as well, and the Spearmen doing their job, kind of holding things up for Gojira. The Plague Monks did decently well, although you would hope to get a little bit more out of them. The Warp Lightning Cannons, unfortunately, got hard countered pretty hard in that artillery duel, and that's always the risk, you know, especially against other good artillery factions. The Warp Lightning Cannons are really good, but they're also one of the biggest unit models in the game in terms of artillery, so they're very easy to take down in the counter artillery duel. So something to consider, certainly. Still a super fun battle, though. In terms of the Steam Tank itself, I mean, like I said, this is probably the best matchup for it in my eyes, just because the Skaven lack mid-range AP missiles. They also lack mobility almost entirely. So you're, number one, probably going to have the mobility advantage, so you can kind of run the Steam Tank around wherever it needs to be without having to worry about getting caught by enemy cav or stuff like that. You have the ranged advantage generally over this game, and of course it relies a little bit on RNG from the artillery duels, but you can kind of outrange them as well. And of course they don't have mid-range AP missiles, they have long-range AP from the Warp Lightning Cannons and short-range with the Globadiers, but they don't have anything in that kind of mid-range where hopefully in the future we'll get stuff like Rappling Gunners and Warplock Giselles. Unfortunately right now, though, we don't have Skaven don't have access to those units, so the Steam Tank relatively safe in that aspect. And of course mobility, Rat Ogres are really the only mobility unit that can catch the Steam Tank, and while they can do a lot of damage to it, certainly unsupported their leadership isn't that great, and you know, they can definitely get seen off. So yeah, in terms of other matchups, I still think the Steam Tank is too risky. If your opponent is going to get a mobility advantage over you, or if they have decent mid-range AP missiles like High Elves, Dark Elves, Dwarves, maybe if you could keep it safe from the AP missiles, it could do okay there because they don't have any mobility. But like High Elves, Dark Elves, they'll have mobility and AP missiles potentially. Same with the Wood Elves. A lot of other matchups I don't think the Steam Tank is very viable in. You know, Vampire Counts are good at killing monsters. Norsca are good at killing monsters. Steam Tank does kind of fall into that category, certainly. Bretonia is probably going to have a mobility advantage over you, potentially. And I think that you probably want to go with other units anyway there, so this is one of the few matchups where I might take the Steam Tank. I might consider it against the Beastmen as well, although if they take a really heavy, like Centaur with throwing axes list, you can get really uncomfortable really fast. Greenskins may seem like one on paper that would be good, but actually they can swarm your backline super effectively, and it's hard to protect your Steam Tank against the very cost-effective armor-piercing units that the Greenskins can bring, like nasty Skulkers, Squig Hoppers, things like that. So this matchup, though, I do think that the Steam Tank potentially has a place here. I still stand by its place as number 5 on my top 5 worst monsters list. It's certainly not the worst, but it's not necessarily great either. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.